Welcome to Life Force Canada. I am Karen of the family class, and I have a flash announcement to make. This crazy world of ours. My dear friend, Doris, our amazing freedom lawyer, Doris of the Reamer family, was arrested today at the airport. I drove her and her partner, Terry, to the airport. I got home, and just about an hour later or so, she texted me telling me that she was going through security with Terry and they arrested her. So I immediately called her. Yeah, she was going to see if she can make it. She gave me permission to share her experience. She will most likely. Oh, she said she just texted me. Look at that. Yeah, so she might be on later on. She just arrived in Phoenix. She's going through security at the airport, WestJet USA, and the policy enforcer told her that she needed to come with him, that she was being arrested because she has 2 arrest warrants out for her. She's known about one for the past couple of years, but she was quite surprised for the second one. She, of course, got to the room and they fingerprinted her. He read her rights, and she said, "I do not understand." And he was getting really frustrated. And so, to collect her thoughts, she asked him to read it again. Or no, sorry. He said, "Do you want me to read it again?" And she said, "Yes." And he told her she was being difficult. And so he gave her 2 options. One, she could go to jail right then and there, or she could sign a document to appear in court. So she did sign under protest because, of course, she was on her way to Phoenix. Yeah, so what a crazy world. The one warrant was for her not wearing a mask in a grocery store in Saskatchewan. They know they can't do anything. That's why they let her go as well. Yeah. So I noticed that, they have set the date for, I think it's January 19th for a Friday. Judges like to leave the court early on a Friday. So her and I are going to draw up a letter. We know the power of paper, right? So words are mightier than the sword. So words that ask questions such as, are you an agent of the crown? Are you here to uphold statute? Are you receiving a commission? So these are questions that she's going to ask if she needs to go to court. But we're prepared. This is what it's all about. Doris is principal. She is a divine feminine woman, warrior. She knows she's the director of her trust. No one messes with her. Yeah, just wanted to share that. Yeah, so she did sign the document and just stated under protest, which of course we all know is a statement that allows people to satisfy an obligation to avoid further legal entanglement while preserving her right. So yeah, as we've shared here in the past few years, no one is here to save you. You must save yourself. And that means making sure that the town you live in is sovereign as well. Unfortunately, every Canadian town council has been taken over by the United Nations agenda. The restructuring of Canadian mayors and municipalities under the Office of the United Nations began in 1992, where Prime Minister Mulroney signed Canada onto the UN Agenda 2021-2030. Canada became a UN member nation state. We all know that 178 countries signed on, lured by the promise of big money. So it will be up to each and every one of us to educate, to challenge, and hold our town council accountable. A couple of weeks ago, we invited Charlene Herbst to join us here as she was going to be speaking to her town council in Pickering, Ontario. Charlene did it. I have uploaded her deputation speech on our YouTube channel. She's back tonight to give us an update and share the results. Welcome, Charlene. I just want to say how our Life Force Canada members are so proud of you. You are brilliant.
Town council went, it was scary. It was really scary. Some things were accomplished. I unfortunately left some notes in the gallery. Councillor Robinson asked me some questions, and I just was like, bleh, like a deer caught in headlights. But on a good note, I did send in the answers to those questions immediately after I left, and asked the clerk to forward them. Lots was accomplished, though. Basically, the private partnership and the fact that the councillors are participating in it, whether or not they know it, was exposed. It was addressed. A request to respond within 30 working days was verbally expressed. The same six questions basically that Neil asked. I don't know if you guys know who he is, but he's the guy that did the BC thing. Basically the same questions, and I'm gonna send you guys copies of the questions in the whole document that council members are being served. And I got the city clerk, I think, to confirm what I was saying, or what I was accusing.
I believe you
right?
did. Absolutely.
And I got the solicitor to dance around on my stupid being nervous, rewording things the way I shouldn't have been, instead of answering the question that was asked to him by the Councillor Robinson. So, oh, and I got a seriously dirty look from the clerk. Which in the video, if you hear me going, hello, that's to her. She was not happy. She was looking at me like, yeah, hi. Yeah, not a fan. Apparently neither is head of council, Mr. Kevin Nash. Apparently he's not a very big fan of mine either. So he had some choice words.
You were incredible, very inspirational.
I was really nervous, but I won't be next time. Update on the paperwork. I was at the library today at City Hall, literally there. I was there, you guys. And then it was like 4:10, and then I went to use the bathroom, and I went out to have a cigarette because my nerves were all shot. And when I came back in, I seen the security guard like locking the doors, and I was like, no. But I'm gonna serve them on Friday, which is my next day off, and I'm gonna send you guys. I wasn't gonna send any of them anything except for Sheila, just to get her to kind of like proof stuff. But I will send it to you guys if you want it. Lots of really good like website links. Been doing lots of research, and I'll keep you posted. Other than that, I don't expect much. Like I'm not gonna expect much, but at least it was addressed, and we'll see where it goes. I don't know.
Well, for those who do not know Lisa, on October 23rd, Pickering City Council voted unanimously to freeze Councillor Lisa Robinson's pay because she did her duty as councillor by proposing 3 motions on behalf of her constituent, and that was to not have the drag queen story in Pickering. Thanks, Charlene. Yeah, well, definitely. I know that there's going to be lots of questions for you here too, and lots of love being shared. We had Shelagh here about 7 months ago. Glad to have you back. We love your POG primer. Love for you to share more about it and what it stands for and why it's important for everyone in their towns to take action now. Thank you, Shelagh, for all you do.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. Good to see a really full house. It's great to see this passion at the local level. I wanted to say bravo, Charlene. I'm very, very proud of you. You know that in our email exchanges. She's been taking a hammer to her head, which we always do, as far as, oh, shoot, I didn't do this and I didn't. But these things always work out exactly how they're supposed to. And when I watched it, and when Angel Godso did the same thing, she said, oh, I froze and I didn't say this and I had all this prepared. And it's like, no, it's perfect, because it demonstrates not only to the mayors and the councillors and the staff there, but also all of us witnessing the frustration that we're all having, that we're not able to kind of articulate what's going on, and witnessing the problem in the mayors and the councillors being stuck. So I thought it was a beautiful job. Councillor Lisa Robinson, that was a really neat way to see a counselor ask a question, several questions actually. And so both Charlene and Lisa revealed a number of things in that little short clip. And so that's why I think it was beautifully executed. But by having Counselor Lisa Robinson ask the questions, she not only revealed a piece in the tape, and I'm trying to get somebody to separate it out. It's at the 6:55 mark, Charlene, I pointed it out to you, where the mayor is actually, when Lisa pipes up and says, you know, I have a question, the mayor, what's his freaking name? Kevin Ashe, A-S-H-E. He looks at her, the counselor, his fellow counselor, who's a fellow trustee, supposedly, and looks at, you're kidding me, right? So not only saying to the counselor, Lisa, like, come on, man, I got to get out of here. I'm either watching a hockey game or I got stuff to do, or, you're showing me up by doing your job. But he's also really disrespectful of Charlene, who has taken time out of her day to come and say, hey, there's something going on and I'm trying to make a speech here and I'm trying to do the best I can. I know it's your job, but what the hell's going on? So I think they did beautifully. And not only did Lisa reveal that one, but there was another counselor beside the mayor, Kevin, and I don't know the name of that one, but he's also witnessed leaning over and saying something like, oh, these are just another crazy or something. Or I think he said something like, it's just another crazy, referring to the deputation. So it's like these people are just falling all over themselves, the criminal, sloppy, disrespectful, condescending mess that's happening just even at our local level. I mean, we've witnessed it in Parliament when they're going back and forth, blah, 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 with a Speaker of the House and nonsense. But to witness that in our city hall, when we got people dying on the street and homeless, was disgusting. But the other thing that Lisa revealed too was that she was able to get the clerk involved and mentioning shit on record. And I copied that word for word, and I'll read it to you. And then the clerk got the solicitor, Andrew Allison, to jump in. And that's something that we've never been able to do as the public in a deputation, because they can't see us. They can't see the public in that chamber. That chamber there is international territory, international jurisdiction. They will only hear the words climate change, transgender, and I don't know, 15-minute city, or smart. They can't hear public. But they were able to hear public, Charlene, via her counselor, a public trustee rep, Lisa Robinson, who was then able to activate the city municipal staff, clerk, and solicitor. So that's how it's supposed to be, but Lisa's in the wrong place. So it was beautiful, and I think I wrote down what it revealed. The clerk said, when they were asked, they were talking about at the time, Charlene, you were kind of indicating, hey, there's a different oath, you're under a declaration, and we're kind of not thinking you're public. And the clerk actually said, and I got to get her name word for word, she said, under the Municipal Act, there is a standard oath of office that each member has to take when they are elected, and every member of council did that at the inaugural meeting that was held last year after the election. And it is an oath that you will uphold your duties as elected officials, that you are elected democratically under the Municipal Elections Act by the electorate, being the residents of Pickering. So all of that, I know I'm going to write it out for people. I highlighted the weasel words. All of that was basically saying, hey, you're just an employee of this city thing, so shut up, kind of thing. And then the solicitor came in and he was explaining that Charlene was confused about corporations or being incorporated, you know, like, bad girl, you don't know what you're talking about. Leave it to the big boys in the suits. They know how these corporations are registered. And he said something to the words of, the city of Pickering is absolutely not a for-profit corporation. Profit is actually prohibited by the Municipal Act. We are a corporation incorporated under the Municipal Act, and we are emphatically not a corporation incorporated under the Ontario Business Corporations Act. So there may be some confusion as to there being different kinds of corporations. Bingo. So the more these guys answer, they just dig them. They need to really drop their shovels and surrender, because this is a chess game. They're in checkmate, and the more they go, the more pieces they're going to lose, and the stronger we get. But we don't want to get stronger. We just want this to end and just get back to normalcy and get back some money control and get some help to these people. And the POG primer was a way of explaining as simply as possible that these things that are happening, that are looking like government and acting like government and spending and taxing like government, are not at all government. Government, de jure government, is a public trustee, like you people teach. You know, they're in a trust relationship with you. They're not in a commercial relationship with you. And so right now we're stuck in contracts and agreements made in secret mayor meetings. And since the piece that's tying us to all this tyranny is that mayor piece, he's the one, that's the position, the man that's actually tying us to that global agenda. And all we need to do is just detach him from it and reestablish our relationship in a trust relationship where everybody is all included, but we buy ourselves a pause that we can then start to educate the masses, similar to what you are doing, on how to grow up, how to be responsible in society, how to be sovereign, self-governing, but also understanding that you're also a unit in a communal piece. So you've got a public entity and a private entity. So you can't just be sovereign and say, this is my land, shove it. We've also got to be living together. So governments have always operated historically, when we were smaller villages, of maintaining a public body, an institution of trustees that keep everything in protected and safe, and dispense money accordingly. And then we have a commercial public municipal corporation that does all the services outside of, but now they're just merged into a big mess. It's been exposed, and now we're starting to get those restoration packages together. In the meantime, people like Charlene are jumping in and calling the fraud on them, on the situation, waking people up. And yeah, a lot of stuff is happening. Very, very proud of people. Neil Farstad in Creston, BC, phenomenal work out there he's doing, champing at the bit for that next step. We're kind of in a little bit of a lull, because we've got to get some structure pieces behind this, because we want to control the demolition. This is a global to local takedown. It will be a local flip, very safely done, but not requiring, you know, the volume of people that revolutions have historically needed, right? We only need that 100th monkey, and we've well past that point. So that's kind of where I went. So yeah.
We love your passion, Gila. I just saw Neil's update actually today. He just posted it
Yeah.
2 hours ago, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna be patient for the next step. We're just gonna hold on for a moment.
He loved that analogy, and it's very true with me as well. Is like we plant the seeds, we we cover it in soil, we water it a little bit, and then we leave it alone and allow it to grow. We don't dig it up to check and see how it's doing. We don't interfere with it. We trust, and this is what's organically, naturally happening on the ground. So people aren't getting a top-down message. They're getting a little bit of a pop, and then they're naturally coming out of it. So, and I also think it's analogous to a chicken and egg. Is if you try to break that egg from the outside, you'll cause death. When that egg is broken from the inside, that creates life. And so we've got to kind of allow this. And he wants to we want to let mayors and councillors sit on this information, because we want them to step back into that public trustee role and protect our public identity, so we can have a sovereign one and a private one as well on the side, and the two don't clash. But we don't have to choose one or the other, like go up north and start a whole nother commune. No. This is our stuff, and we have obligations and duties right here, and it's just been usurped in a coup d'etat that's based in fraud. So it's an easy fix, because the fraud is just a contract, and they were so stupid and clumsy and arrogant that they boiled the contracts down to just 2 men. One, your mayor, who is in fraud if he doesn't get back into that public role that we need him in, and 2, the CAO, who is purposely brought into your town, purposely brought in with that global agenda in his knapsack, and he puts out that rainbow sustainable development goal, and he teaches your mayor and councillors it's this and only this, and shut up with the other shit. And as Councillor Lisa Robinson proved, as soon as she said, hey, there's an 18th and a 19th sustainable development goal, bam, she was out for 30 days with no pay. Yeah. And had to cover a mortgage payment. And that's an elected public trustee. Like, so they've really, whoa. So people, I know there's a lot of people out there trying to do a lot of different things. They're trying to aim at the provincial level. They're trying to aim at the federal, national level. They're trying to hit the courts. They're trying to do the notices of liability. But truly, the safest, fastest, most effective way is to regain your money control. And that can immediately be done with that local mayor put in that public trustee office. That office of the mayor was never invoked. What is that office? That's a sovereign office. It's been consumed by the provincial, which is the crown. So we've also challenged the fact that municipal level of government is not a crown entity. It is not, and we had Elizabeth Marshall confirm that at the Ontario Landowners Association annual general meeting. She was asked specifically, what is the local level of government? What is that? And she said it's a corporation. Well, a corporation can't make laws. And if a corporation is my government, then I'm in a corporatocracy, and I'm pretty sure that's fraud too. So again, these people are just putting their foot in their mouth more, because it's revealing the fact that this has all been based on fiat currency and fraud in the banking, and conversion of status and legalese, and fraudulent agreements in legalese in the commercial end of it. So all of this is being disclosed. Fraud nullifies all, which means that you can either restore your mayor to historically what a mayor was, or you can actually now beauty just put him on another agreement, and that other agreement is basically called your local constitution. So this is where the republicing is happening at that local level, splitting apart these public-private partnerships.
Our town is where the power is.
We're not able to be men and women or land or whatever, because we're just immediately converted to that legal person and can only operate that in the legal system. But this now is pulling us out of that, which is beautiful, because now the lawyers can't touch you if you have an agreement with your mayor that supersedes the one he already has, and any agreement with your mayor supersedes the one he has now, because it's in fraud. It's an international agreement, and he had no authority, way beyond his scope of authority, way beyond his purview, way beyond anything that we possibly could have elected him to do. Right. So, but he's been incorporated so he can be made into a strong mayor, or a city mayor, or a global mayor, or a super duper mayor, or a covenant global is what Cam Guthrie is. But those are just qualified mayors, not true trustees, not true. What that's an official position of trust, not these monsters that they've got just ka-ching 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 on your credit card and on the future of your kids. Yeah, as soon as we get a lawful sheriff, right, which a sworn in properly mayor will be, then anybody from anywhere can go to that local municipal whatever courthouse and bring your NOLs of Nicola Mercer from Guelph into or Ford from Toronto. You can bring it into a law, because law will always supersede that commercial entity, and you don't even have to go after his insurance bond or all that. You're going straight to the man, because you're the woman in that court of law. So we bypass all of those corporate immunity layers that these officers and agents have on top of them when they operate in these commercial forums. Once they know their mayor is in fraud, that next one can step into place, and we'll have a process where that one, and I think we can with the counselors as well, that if they don't want a republic, if they don't want to become a public trustee and represent me, then hey, I'm appointing this one in your place. It'll be, that sort of setup. So the beauty of law is that it's truly public. It's truly transparent. It's truly accountable. There's no, because you're a part owner of that trust, right? You're both the settler and you're the beneficiary, and you're part of the unincorporated association, but you're also part owner of that incorporated service business. Like that's how it's supposed to be. So this isn't new. It's been at least 30 years away from it, and that's what the globalists say is, give us 30 years, give us one generation, and we can flip anything, right? We can change a narrative on its head. And that's why 2030 was pivotal. Is if they got us there, it was going to be lab babies only, 15-minute city, down to 500 million. So that was where, but we bumped that freaking needle, man, because something happened energetically with us all where we went, whoa, and then something got downloaded, and then now people are putting their separate pieces together that have been hammering, like you guys, your group has been hammering at all different areas, Stand for the Action for Canada, the Postmaster General syntax stuff, all of these has been hammering with the right pieces. So it's beautiful to see us all coming together with the final key. And now that it dissolves everything, now let's grow what we want in complete transparency, so it can't morph into this shit again, right?
And it won't.
Like, whoa,
are waking up fast.
Yeah. It's truly amazing. Like, and people like Charlene that maybe even 3 years ago just was paying taxes, thinking, okay, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to find, I got to pay my hydro bill, and then going, what the hell? So COVID did us a huge favor, got a lot of people, boom, caught up to speed right immediately when they realized the power of a global government system as opposed to a de jure trustee in law governing system, where they hold the consent of the governed as opposed to they're governing and controlling your mind.
I think that because we're at this precipice, I think right now, where people are saying yes, They're allowing themselves to have the courage and the heart to step out front and truly make a difference, and then show that this can be done. So bravo to you and to Charlene and everyone who's stepping up and making it happen. It's very exciting. I think we're going to see more and more as these videos go viral. We're going to see more and more people grabbing the templates and memorizing them, and then having the courage to take a stand in their town, because that's what we need to do.
My website, Shelagh.ca, SHELAW.ca. I run updates on what council deputations are happening, and updates on sort of the templates that we're forming. We're kind of in just like sort of in a kind of a pause, what we're coming together with. There's a little bit of an indication on a restoration page of where we're going. Right now, we're wanting people to really understand that we're not going to have any luck with our mayors and councillors acting privately or internationally, taking orders from someone else. They've indicated quite clearly that they can't hear us, and the POG primer shows or indicates to people that they actually have removed the public offices, right, at the local levels blatantly, but at the provincial level, you might see a premier there, you might see Ford at that provincial level, but he's merged in a public-private partnership too, so you have no provincial voice, right? And well, right now all our money is being sent to the province, which is just a subnational member state of the United Nations. And then that federal level with the prime minister, we have no voice with our MPs in that parliament. I mean, it's a joke to watch what happens there. So yeah, it really truly has to happen at that local level. And why the global agenda targeted the local level is because not only could they bypass nations' different legislative levels and structures, they could go right to the ground, but that ground level that you have with your mayor and councillors is a trustee relationship. It's not a political party relationship. I don't vote for my mayor as a conservative or a liberal or his agenda per se. I vote for him to be responsible and protect and serve me as a de jure fiduciary shire reeve, right? And so this is where we don't have any public voice because we lost our public offices.
Thank you, Shelagh. Al, go ahead.
Yeah, so we know that these councils are corporations and they really hold no power, because if we're truly sovereign beings, we have greater authority than them. So if we look into like my town has very few people in it. I live in a small town. And if I say run for mayor of the sovereign town and say 50 people vote for me, does that make me mayor? And does that give me the right to basically be in charge of their budget, what they're taking from people? And I'm thinking that, well, people are used to giving to this corporate entity, but I guess it would be a voluntary tax. Is really, what power does the mayor have if he's not making, or he or she is not making laws over people's lives, but merely managing a budget for the benefit of the people? Would people just voluntarily give their taxes to this new sovereign town and forget about the other towns? So really, you got to go on a PR campaign to awaken people so that they just stop giving money to the corporation and give it to the sovereign entity. And in that way, we can take back our towns and represent as sovereigns, where we're not under any law but God's law, natural law, and we're taking our own money and putting it to our own uses for the good of the town.
As far as sovereignty, we're not really truly sovereign people right now. We're only recognized as children of the province under that SIN number, and we're only able to access the legal system. So as far as a mayor taking over a small town, this is why I ran for mayor in Guelph. Is I wanted to know what would happen if I got elected, like you say, 50 people elected you. And so you had more or less that consent of the governed right there, but you weren't under an oath of any sort. You haven't taken any direction from anybody. You've just been elected as mayor in your town. So what I wanted to know is, how do I swear to the people that elected me? Because what they're doing now is they're sending mayors and councillors to the municipal act, which is that corporate act, and they never get to swear to your 50 people. They automatically swear to that corporation, and so they can, then they're stuck. And so even if you wanted to help as a mayor and help those sovereign, you can't. You're stuck in a contract. Okay, but you didn't know that when you signed with them, right? And that's why when I ran for mayor, I asked them, "Where's my public oath?" Because I've got to, I have to have some oath that I say to the people that I'm going to represent you, and then I'm going to have some agreement with the corporation that I'm going to be responsible for the money. But the two of them aren't supposed to mix. And that's where they're mixing them. So this is where we can't truly be sovereign until we're protected in a trust environment with your mayor. And from that point, we can educate people to truly become sovereign and grow up from that child of the province. Right
I
now,
think I
you
already
can
am
only,
sovereign though.
but you're not recognized. Are you
I
recognized
don't need
that
to be.
way
The
though?
thing is, I don't need any of their involvement. I don't
Right.
care about the corporation and everything. It's like I want to wake up other sovereign people so they understand their sovereignty and that they don't need to bother with the corporation. We could pool our own funds and make our own budget, and we could all agree together on some basic oath where the new mayor, sovereign mayor, would agree to represent the people. And I think it'd be basic and simple and just cut them out of the equation. They're not really part of my reality. I don't want to get called into their courts. I don't want them managing my money, and I don't want anything to do with them.
Perfect. Absolutely. And that's the idea. That's what the Treasury is all about. We're not able to activate a Treasury system locally where we can put our money in there separate from those guys, from that money system in there locally, the local Treasury. Then we can pay and establish our court system of law. Then we can pay and establish what the local agenda. Then we have our counselors at that ward levels that they're back in a trustee, forming that board of trustee area. So it's what you're talking about exactly, but at a broader scale, so that we encompass everybody all at once, and not just people that are smart, like, or have researched as much as you have. Because there's a lot of people that you say the word sovereign and they just see Queen Elizabeth and that's it, right? So yes, you're exactly what you're saying, but at that local level, using that public trustee office and that treasury, and from there you can keep your public assets and public identity within that local treasury environment or trust environment. And then Al, you, the private man, can operate outside of that with private contracts and agreements, and outside of the SIN number and the legal system and all of that. And if anything happens out there, you've got lawful courts of law that you can take another man or woman in there. You can even take your mayor in there, because he's not protected under legalese, weasel words, corporate immunity, and that office, right? So yes, exactly. I think we're talking the same things, Al. I'm just doing it using that mayor position, and he would become that sovereign office on a larger scale, because he would then be able to have control over the SIN numbers, where we don't have control over that because we don't know what it is just now. We don't know if it's a federal, if it belongs to the Vatican, if it's empty, if it's a certificate, if it's what the hell that SIN number is. We just know that its value, I believe it's just labor backed. It's just you're the value, your signatures. There's nothing behind that actual birth certificate number. And so if we pull that quote unquote number into the treasury, then boom, we bankrupt that corporation. You're right. We have no business in that corporation. I don't care how they're tendering and getting the roads done. I just care that the jobs are getting done. I'm not getting screwed, and my mayor's doing what he's told. Like, so yeah. But we don't have an independent public treasury. We don't have that sovereign public trustee to protect us and serve us. And then, so therefore, we don't have the ability to truly participate in society freely as sovereign men and women that can do as they please until they cause harm or loss or injury, or they, bear false witness. So yeah, that truly, but we can't do that right now.
Thank you. We just listened to Dolores Cahill in
Yes.
Oxford, England, right?
Yes.
With natural law, trial by jury, mock trial. It was so great in regards to breaking ground again. So as we move forward, everyone is going to be learning how to have a natural law trial by jury in their town, in their county, in their district. And so we will have nothing to do with corporations, because we know the legal system is only for corporations, and we're all going to be letting go of that and standing in our living man woman capacity, the highest
Exactly.
status on the land.
Exactly. And I think, I don't know if Paul's still in this room, Paul Chauvin,
Yep,
he's
Paul's here.
well versed in the grand juries, kind of speaking with him, because yeah, I envision every ward having a town hall, that will have a public courthouse available, that, that has free public transportation to and fro and in between, whether it's bus or taxi or disability, that you can go and take, your counselor is there, everything's at that town hall, boom, 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 internet guidance, whatever, printers and a newspaper. But yeah, I see us setting up those local courts of law, and I think Paul was pivotal in that, or in teaching me a lot of stuff.
I think we're going to be moving forward with deleting the word court, because it's a Masonic
Yes.
temple.
We got to delete a lot of words,
Yes,
like
me too.
municipal. I
Yeah.
keep stumbling over municipal because it's such everybody knows it, but nobody knows what it is. Like, it's like, so, and same with municipalities. Like, I want to use that because it's and people know it, but nobody knows. I'll ask you and you'll say something. It's like 10 people witnessing an accident. All 10 people will tell you a different story. And when so it's hard to talk now.
To add to what she was talking about, grand juries, I mean, that's something they got rid of in 1984, and it's time for, like, did we listen to mandates? No. Well, what about bringing back an actual law that they took out of the books? And why would they take out something like grand juries out of the books for the law society to use? Like, there has to be a catch to that. Well, to me, that's one of the first things of a treasonous acts that we could expose, and to bring back this law that they did treasonously. It's one of the treasonous acts that Justin Trudeau's daddy did to us. Right, just one. He's done many. To me, the charter is an act of treason. To me, the way he changed our banking system to the fraud it is today is treason. I mean, I got a video of a lawyer, Rocco Galati's, saying it, that what he did was abdicate his constitutional duty to govern.
Yeah.
And the thing is, these P3s are the same thing, except the mayors are abdicating their constitutional duty to govern into sometimes foreign companies or corporations. So that's again more foreign influence in our governance. That's treason in and of itself, right there too. So everything she's talking about is treason, 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 treason. How do we get accountability? How do we get repercussions for what they did?
Can I interject? Is you can't really accuse anybody of treason if they don't know what they're doing. Okay,
That's right.
This is what's happening now, and what the POG primer has done is exactly. It's saying you're in 3 different ones. we're pretty sure, which one do you want to be in? And so if they pick anything other than public, then they can be charged of treason and sedition, because then they're knowingly and willingly defrauding the public. Like, and they're checkmate, right? And the other beauty of this is they've already received more or less a notice to admit jurisdiction, basically just sending them the POG and a cover letter saying, hey, dude, are you public, private, or international? That's a notice to admit jurisdiction. So even if we took that into a court of into their legal courts, we still would win, because they would still have to come to court and prove whether they're public, private, or, and they can't. So this is why it's a checkmate, right? So yeah, and then
yes, we're eventually gonna have to bring them to court.
Yes,
Some kind of court.
Yeah.
We trust their legal system, the Canadian Bar Society. It hasn't done us any good since this pandemic started. You know, they haven't really done that great before. I wasn't impressed with them before. You know, just take the Bank of Canada lawsuit, for example, how that turned out. You know, it didn't pan out our way, did it? That's why I always figured that something like that should be done in a jury type trial, you know, grand juries. Got to bring them back.
And made up of, you know, if you have your adjudicating halls or whatever, and now I don't want to use a court, but if you had them in your own town area, in your ward level, and you had a jury of peers made up of who's ever in your ward, if you brought a case to there, you know, like so and so Joe, he didn't cut my grass like he said he would, all of a sudden Joe's reputation is kind of out there as far as, oh, you know, Joe's not a really good grass cutter. So natural law, actually, it's very, very easy when you have the ability to implement it. When we don't, we're thrown into legal, we can only be represented by the legal system because we're considered children, right? We don't.
Yes, under their legal system, we're considered children. We're evolving from adolescence to adulthood here. There could be some noise and some, you know, somebody's going to kick somebody out of somebody's house. And it's time that we move out of house and decide to become adults here. We can run our houses better than these guys are doing.
Absolutely.
Seriously.
That's what it's all about. It's the great awakening of consciousness.
It is a very exciting time, and you'd be amazed how much money you have locally. If you pulled all that money within this local treasury, you cut out all the salaries, there's $500,000 for your CAO a year. And what does he do? He's there to implement the global agenda. You know, another $250,000 for your clerk, you know, another for your planners and your deputy this and deputy that. Meanwhile, your counselors get a mere $50,000-$60,000 and work part-time while these big kahunas in City Hall are taking over. So yeah, that City Hall belongs to us. That's a public building, and it's been hijacked, right? We have a duty to take it back. Well, that's a public trustee building. We own that. That's a public asset that belongs in our trust, you know, and so does all our money. So it's no different than a baby, and you're setting up a trust fund for them until they're 18 or 21. You take care, you put them in that trust fund, you make sure that all their bills are paid for, you know, we make sure that everybody's homed and you hydroed and fed and healthy, and that can all be paid out of the trust fund, the local registry, whatever. While it's being invested, and it's also being used as surety to borrow more. We're only doing the same thing they're doing, only in a safe public trustee environment. We say what we want. We say to the CAO, go and tender, find us the best jobs, bring us back. But right now, you know, once upon a time, those CAOs, they came in with your mayor and they served at pleasure, meaning that they answered to that mayor and then they went out with the mayor. They didn't sit there and get somehow put in and stay while we revolve around our elected officials and lose further and further control until we're in a 15-minute city.
It all starts with all of us overcoming our fear of authority and really reclaiming our power and allowing the knowingness that we got this, we can do this. And as everyone is showcasing, not just here in Life Force Canada, but in other freedom movements, people are making a difference. They're taking that sword and plowing through the jungle and allowing people to follow in their path. And then everyone else is saying, okay, this is how it's done. And then they take the sword and they begin to make their own path. And so we're all going to be making our path to freedom, and we're going to wind up all at the same place, which is very exciting. We're creating heaven on earth. I love it. Aaron, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm at a bit of a confused state as to how a person would move ahead with these, because apparently, you know, our place isn't to be in court. We shouldn't be in court.
No.
But NOLs aren't necessarily taking anybody to court ourselves, right? It just, but yet you still want to be able to have these people who are in these positions of authority who are screwing up, who you want to hold accountable. And I've heard tonight mention that, yeah, take them to court and their own laws will convict them of what they're doing. But there again, now that drags us into having to go into an arena we just don't want to be around, that we don't want to support.
Great. Yes.
So, but at the same time, you know, there's the NOLs, and I've heard that that's a pretty good, strong way to move forward. So I just trying to seek some clarity in my own mind as to where a person should stand.
Thank you, Aaron. Great
Thanks.
question. We do have a lot of people that come on to Life First Canada, and you know, some people are here for the first time. So there's all different, you know, ways of being and doing, and we're all getting clarity. So thank you. Confusion is a great place to be. It means the mind is expanding. Yes, I agree. We do not want to go to their court. We want to create our own natural law court. Unfortunately, a lot of the premiers, prime ministers, and presidents, a lot of the people in the higher realms, we will never be able to take them to court. They are already in the private, and they are untouchable in the private. So again, the notice of liability is working in many cases. I know in the United States, a lot of people who are moving through the notice of liability and then taking action. That's a follow through. It's a follow through that makes a difference. And so people are putting liens on their homes. And again, that's a challenge too, because their property is in the private too. So to me right now, it's really the focus is waking people up in their towns and getting people to do what Charlene did. I think that's a powerful step forward. You know, more and more people just need to do this because it might not get anywhere at that moment, but it plants a seed, it breaks ground. And again, it's like the sword moving through the jungle. So yeah, I think that right now too, learning how to create a natural law court in our town is going to be key, because we're going to be stepping out of the legal system and handling things in a very different way. So thank you, Aaron, for being here. Gwen, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that I'm new in a small town. It's a very small village of 266 people. We have one mayor, one deputy mayor or councillor. I really don't know what the tone is, you know, in this little village. I really don't know. Oh, so I just want to go tomorrow to our meeting of the mayor and the city council. There are only 3 of them, and see what they're talking about and just see what their agenda is. United Nations goals.
Yes, that's brilliant, Wendy. And then we can pass on the template to
Yeah.
Charlene's template.
Email me and let me know how it goes.
People are very friendly here, and our mayor is terrifically friendly. So is the deputy mayor. So I don't really know where their headspace is. So I thought I would just go and sit in on their meeting tomorrow and start to get to know, you know, what's going on in this little town.
Thank you, Wendy. That's great. For anyone that is not up to speed on the discussion, if you go to the newsletter that was sent out last week, there is the link there too of Mark and Charlene's talk that they did on Life Force Canada here. I think it was November 20th. and showcased, you know, what is happening in regards to all the towns need to wake up to their sovereignty. Mark was here. He has a great website. I think Sheila put it in the chat, and so did Karen as well. Confront your town council. So they need to be educated. And so it's a really, really important task for all of us to really get involved. Really, really important. Okay, a completely different topic. We're just going to pivot over here now. Doris is here. Oh my gosh, my awesome friend Doris. Okay, so a few of you heard me sharing at the beginning of the call, but some of you did not. Today I drove Doris to the airport. Her and Terry are flying to, are in Phoenix now, Arizona. But so I got home and she texted me an hour later and saying that they arrested her at the airport. That's so crazy. So Doris is here. I'm so glad you're here, Doris. Oh my gosh, if you want to just share your story on what happened, I think it would just be
Sure.
a great idea.
Hi, everyone. So good to see you all. Yeah, I had a bit of an experience at the airport today. So just to give you a little bit of background, I spoke at a rally back in 2020 when the mask mandates came down. And it was at that rally in November 2020 that I guess I, was in a gathering of more than 15 people and not wearing a mask. And I know the police had come to my office. I never saw them. I wasn't there. If you remember, it was the height of COVID. Anyways, so time passes, and typically every December we go down to Phoenix for a few weeks. And 2021 and 2022, we did drive down through the border. So coming back in into Canada after our first trip, I became aware that there was a warrant for my arrest. So nothing would ever show up, when keeping in mind this is at the land border, so nothing would ever show up on the US side. I was able to enter the US, but it was always coming into Canada where I was having the issue. So that happened 2 years in a row. And this arrest warrant came up. They would search my vehicle, that kind of thing, and certainly make it unpleasant to come into Canada. But other than that, there was really no issue with the warrant. I never got stopped by the police or anything. And also subsequent to that, I did go to the police station for a fender bender and nothing showed up there. I was in a vehicle when Terry got a speeding ticket a few months ago and nothing showed up, in that incident. Anyway, so I kind of thought it was sort of benign, and I've talked to some officers as well about it. So I thought, it's kind of not a big deal, blah, blah, blah. So today, heading down to Phoenix, I go through security, and then you go through the US Customs. So the customs officer said, he indicates that he needs to speak with me alone, kind of thing. And so we go into this other area. And he was a very nice customs officer. And he's like, look, I know you want to go on your trip and yada, yada. He's like, I just need to get the Calgary Police Service here just to do a bit of paperwork and you'll be on your way. So he made it seem like it would be very easy. And then I just said to him, oh yeah, I said something about, I guess there's a price to pay when you're fighting for freedom, because I knew that it would show up that it was sort of the masking stuff. And he's like, yeah, he's like, well, it's nothing, with respect to the United States, it's a Calgary police issue or whatever. He's like, can you just wait over there? So I go in, I sit down and I wait. And it does take some time. And finally, this police officer confronts me and he comes over and he's like, there's 2 warrants for your arrest. And I said, 2? I said, I thought there was only 1. and he's like, there's 2. And he's like, and you're under arrest. I'm like, okay. So then he starts to read me my rights. And of course my head is, sort of spinning a little. And I'm like, great, this is going to ruin my trip. And, I've got Terry waiting, somewhere in the airport for me and that kind of thing. And to be honest, it was actually a bit of a fight getting Terry to go on a plane with me, because he's like, there's that stupid arrest warrant. Like, I don't want to fly with you. Right. So I'm like, I'm going to be in big trouble now. So anyway, I'm thinking about all these things while he's reading me my rights. And then he says, do you understand? And I'm like, okay, well, Karen sent me like a gazillion videos on this stuff. I've watched them all and, I've studied, read and stuff on this. And I'm like, I do not understand. Like, it just clicked in. It was like, I do not understand. And he's like, what don't you understand? I'm like, I don't understand. And he's like, do you want me to read it again? And I said, yes, because I wanted more time to think, right? So he goes through the whole thing. Yeah, you've got the right to remain silent, the right to a lawyer, blah, blah, blah. And he says, do you understand? I said, I do not understand. And he's like, let me break this down for you. And he starts again. And now he's like talking to me like I'm a child. And he's like, all right, do you know what a lawyer is? And I'm like, oh, shoot, do I like pull out my bar card now or what? And then I'm like, I said, I'm not required to answer questions. And, he's getting really frustrated. He's like, you're just playing games now. Like, you're being silly. And I said, I'm not. I said, I'm declaring that I'm sovereign. And I don't know, it kind of went on a bit. And then that was all I said. Like, it was a kind of like awkward silences, but I would just say, like, I'm not required to answer questions, right? Anyway, so it went on for a while. And then he's like, all right, you got two choices here. He's like, you can sign this. It's a condition to appear in court, or you're going to jail. I'm like, well, of course I want to get out of there, right? And I want to get on with my trip. And I'm actually quite elated that, wow, like I have a choice here of something. So I'm like, well, I'll sign it, but it's under protest. So he gives it to me. And so it does have a court date of, I think it's January next year. And so I just signed it. I put under protest. He opened the door and I'm like, thank you, sir. Have a nice day. And I got on my flight and here I am. So
I hope you
yeah.
signed without prejudice.
I put without protest, or sorry, under protest.
And I want to remind everyone, okay, if you ever get arrested, look at Doris. She's here, how many hours later talking to all of us. That is courage, that is heart, that is bravery, that is you being in this emotional mastery place. You are brilliant. And I just know that this is all happening for divine purpose. And it's here to, again, showcase the way forward for all of us. So thank you. You have a strong spirit.
I think so. And I think what really is important is practicing. And, I know, Karen, you do the workshops and that kind of thing. I think it's so important to practice because, yeah, you never know when it's going to show up. And I don't know if anybody's been stopped by the police and had to do a breathalyzer, but that's sort of the latest thing that I understand is occurring in Alberta anyway. So, and it's the same thing. It's the same concepts. They don't have any right to insert anything into your body or to, gather any bodily fluids from you, right? So even in that context, it's really important to say no. And I imagine it's hard, like you're on the side of a road, you're vulnerable, right? And just like I was today,
Thank you so much, Doris. And yeah, I text Claire and Carol right away. They're just sending you lots of love. And
oh, thank you.
We're gonna
Everyone's
have a
so
great
sweet.
time in Phoenix.
Yes, for sure.
Oh my gosh. Charlene, go ahead. Oh, while Charlene's unmuting, for those of you who do not know, Doris is one that started the Lawyers4Truth. Excellent. And yes, we do have our Sovereign Living Workshop coming up in 2024, March 9th and 10th. And this is a great space for everyone to begin practicing. It's going to be so key moving forward. So mark your calendars. It's going to be in Calgary. Love to see all of you there in the real, in the raw, and so that we can all hug each other and really begin to express our sovereignty, to have the courage to face authority, to have the courage to face whatever is going to be rising up in our own lives. Every soul is on their own journey, and our souls are going to be tested to see if we are standing in our sovereignty and as man and woman. So it's going to be a really important event to attend. And Oleg, I just wanted to speak to you in regards to, you mentioned about Bravo Doris. The next step is to get out of the contract that you are forced to sign. Yes, we are going to be putting a letter together so that she does not have to go to court. And so we can expose them respectfully in the letter, and she can share her status. She's establishing her status in a letter.
Yeah, Karen, I was kind of commenting from my experience of being under arrest, and I'm kind of wanting to somebody else do not repeat my mistakes. So I signed up without knowing that there is could be autographing instead of signing, first of all. And then if I wouldn't sign, I would be put into the jail immediately, because I was already spent 2 hours in a cell in a police station. So I was already in a jail. And I was released with this condition. I have to sign. That next step, exactly, we have to prepare affidavit.
Yes.
To send back to the court.
Absolutely, like that's exactly what we're going to be doing.
Yep.
Thank
and stand up as a live being, not as a person.
Yes. Yes, she's going to be establishing her status as principal director of her own trust. Doris.
Yeah, so that's what I'm planning on doing, is filing whatever paperwork needs to be filed. But I'm just thinking, like, I'm not going to show up in court, but it would be interesting if somebody else was to be in court that day, just to see what happens, like if my name gets called, when it gets called, what happens. And so it's like I said, because I'm not going to be there, I'll have filed the paperwork, but I'm not going to show. It would just be interesting as to what takes place in the courtroom that day.
Yeah.
Like, do they talk about the paperwork that I filed? Do they even call my name? Like, that's what I want to know.
Claire and Carol and I will go.
All right.
I'm
Well,
going.
I was thinking, send
volunteering.
friends to be reconnaissance, and you don't show up and they don't know who you are. Woohoo!
Exactly.
I don't know how they
I'm
do it in
going-
Alberta, but in Ontario here, they do all of these initial appearances by Zoom. So you don't have to go to court. It's all by Zoom until the trial.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'd have to look at the paperwork, but I believe you have to
It's
show.
possibly different in Alberta.
Yeah, I think, I mean, during COVID, they were doing it by Zoom, but I'm pretty sure now they require you to appear. So
They still continue in Ontario by Zoom.
Well, here's the question. Are you appearing as surety, Doris? Well, you're a lawyer. You might not be able to play some of the games we could.
Francois, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, it's just for Doris. So basically, I was going to say, just appear, just don't identify yourself, and just listen, and then leave.
Yeah.
That's it, right? They don't know what you look like.
Exactly. That's so
With
true.
that, I yield.
Thank you. This has been a great call again. Thank you everyone for showing up. We are on a very exciting adventure, aren't we? Thank you to Charlene and Shelagh. So appreciate you. And Doris, things are going to be happening in our realm, and we need to prepare ourselves mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. This is what my Together We Rise course is all about too. So we have courses right now for 50% discount until December 31st. Highly recommend. These courses are powerful. We got the PMA course available too. We'll be sending out some information this week by email. Highly recommend. Our knowledge right now, the integration of everything that we're learning is so key. I'm very excited because we're going to be having a health panel coming up in December on the 8th to 18th. So mark your calendar for that too. Whoever is a private member, you're going to have an awesome call tomorrow night. Unfortunately, I will not be there, but Karen Hanna is going to be taking you through a discharging of taxes and how we're not meant, taxes is not lawful whatsoever. We're never meant to pay taxes. So she's going to be having a powerful presentation. on that tomorrow evening for all our private members. So thank you to Laura Jane and to Karen Hannah for hosting tomorrow night. I'm now off for a week. I'm looking forward to seeing Claire and Carol in Phoenix this week as well. Lots of love, everyone.
How do I get on this mailing list for these Zooms?
How did you get the link for tonight?
Dallas gave it to me.
Who did?
Dallas.
Alice.
Oh,
Constitutional, whatever.
oh, very good. Just go to lifeforcecanada.ca. I think Karen has put it in the chat.
Go. Okay, hang on.
It's lifeforcecanada.ca.
I'm looking. There it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and then you could just become a private member or free. We have free membership, but if you want to join the Tuesday calls are where we go through templates and how to write letters, how to write your affidavit, how to go through different templates in regards to discharging credit, taxes.
I'm pretty sure I could teach that.
Yes, good, excellent. Well, we'll have to have you on a Monday call. And so, yeah, and you can go to our Life Force Canada YouTube channel. We have a lot of videos there showcasing what we've done. We've got a lot of information actually on the website as well.
Hey, thanks, I got it.
Excellent. Thank you. And thanks to Dallas for having you here. Appreciate it. And we do have, I can't remember his name again. I think it's David. He's going to be talking about the fake climate change next Monday. So you're going to want to be here for that as well. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate you. Okay. If you want to stay for a short meditation, a mindfulness practice, you're welcome to stay. If not, please have an awesome week. Together we rise, everyone. Oh, yes, and you can find the courses in our academy on Life Force Canada as well, on the top menu bar, courses. Okay, let's close our eyes. Focusing on your breath, focusing on life force energy. And as you're breathing in that life force energy, I want you to ask yourself this question. Why is it more important for me to be unhappy than happy? Why is it more important for me to be unhappy than happy? This realm is created through a mind control system, keeping us what I refer to as below the line. It's keeping us in polarity, keeping us in that fear-based consciousness. And as I'm speaking, just keep breathing. And that fear-based consciousness keeps us separate from our true nature, from our divine nature, from our sovereignty. There's a voice in our head. We have two voices. Well, we have many voices, but two main voices. One voice wants you to stay unhappy. It wants you to focus on a dystopian future. It wants you to focus on struggle, lack. It wants you to focus on how the external realm has done us wrong. There's another voice within you that focuses on everything being in divine order for your own soul's growth, for your own soul's awakening. That voice is your higher self. That voice that says, you are amazing. You are incredible. You are loved. You are more than enough. You are valuable. And that's the voice we need to be listening to more and more as we move forward. Tapping into the inner joyful aspect of ourself. Happiness is a state of mind. We need to be looking at the gift right in front of us in every single moment. And we can only truly see the gifts in the moment when we are present. When we are right here, right now, in a mindfulness state. And as we stand in this state of consciousness that is above the chaos, that is above the fear, here we discover the solutions. The solutions are going to be given to all of us on a silver platter. Just breathe in. I'm choosing happiness. I'm choosing joy. I'm choosing to find the good in every moment. Keep focusing on your breath. I'm choosing to take 10 minutes every day to connect with my divine mind. And so it is. Beautiful hearts, everyone. Namaste.
Yeah.
Thanks, Karen. Have a good vacation.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank
Have
you.
a wonderful trip, you three.
Thank you, Karen, and thank you to everyone.
Thank you all.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.